Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Umesh ji is joined. What time is it, Umesh?
In 4.5 hours, that 11 plus 4, maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
3 o'clock.
In the afternoon?
Yeah,
Yes, please.
they are
Yeah.
4.5 hours ahead of us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are on verse 5 and 6.
Yes, we finished 3 and 4.
Yes.
Did you want to explain those terms, Krishnapani ji, or not required?
Which terms?
All the ones that describe the Brahman, immutable, indefinable, unmanifest, the omnipresent, unthinkable.
It doesn't really convey anything.
That's true.
Actually, if we are honest to ourselves,
Yeah,
they are mere words.
very true.
Demolishing everything, sir.
The only words.
Yeah, I don't have the today's. Did you send me the message?
Oh, you want me to
Yes.
send you 5 and I may have
Yes.
sent it earlier. That's why I thought I did.
No,
Okay.
I did 5 and 6. I don't think I have.
Okay.
Maybe I'll just look into it.
I'll send it to you right now.
Minute. Yeah, 5 is there.
Huh.
6 is not there.
Okay, I'm sending it to you right now.
Shall we start the school prayer?
Yeah. It's you've received it.
Yes. Oh, hidden light shining in everyone. Oh, hidden life vibrant in every atom. Oh, hidden light shining in every creature. Oh, hidden embracing all. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. Om Bhuvasvaha. Om Tatsaviturvarenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Om Bhuvasvaha. Om Tatsaviturvarenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Om Bhuvasvaha. Om Tatsaviturvarenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Om Satoma Sadgamaya. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay. Okay. The layout I am just trying to. Swap. Yeah, okay, I'll read out the Okay.
The fifth one, yeah.
Yes, the fifth one. क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखं देहवद्भिरवाप्यते.
The translation: the difficulty of those whose minds are stuck to the unmanifest is much greater. Uneasy and take is the resort to the unmanifest for the embodied souls. The commentary: the unmanifest Brahman, it's
What is the page number?
180. Of all the repressed members, a stern difficulty and anguish of the nature. Dukkham avapyate, klesho adhikaras tesham. Adhikara, is that correct? Krishnapani ji? Adhikaras tesham. Oneness accepts all that climb to it, but offers no help of relation and gives no foothold to the climber. All has to be done by a severe austerity and a stern and lonely individual effort. How different is it for those who seek after the Purushottama in the way of the Gita? I think Krishnapani ji has got to reconnect with us. So just hang on for a minute.
Ajay, I went off.
Read it again?
Yes, please. Yes. Yes.
Or the
The
whole thing?
commentary.
Okay. The unmanifest Brahman, in its indefinable unity, is a thing to which embodied souls can only arrive, and that hardly by a constant mortification, a suffering of all the repressed members, a stern difficulty and anguish of the nature. Dukkham avapyate, klesho adhikaras tesham.
Adhikatarastesham. Okay.
Adhikaras tesham. The indefinable oneness accepts all that climb to it, but offers no help of relation and gives no foothold to the climber. All has to be done by a severe austerity and a stern and lonely individual effort. How different is it for those who seek after the Purushottama in the way of the Gita?
Okay. Okay. Now, Sri Krishna is pointing out the essential difficulty of somebody who is embodied to try to reach the unmanifest, in the sense, try to set one's mind on the unmanifest. Because the mind, as we have seen earlier, is something which is concrete and can recognize only that which has a name and a form. The mind cannot even comprehend something which is beyond name and form. So, for an embodied being, Dehavadbhihi, for an embodied being, it is much more difficult. That's what he says. The difficulty of those whose minds are stuck to the unmanifest is much greater. Adhikataraha. And he says the way is also very arduous. Gatir dukkham. Avyakta hi gatir dukkham. Avyakta hi gatir. the way to approach the unmanifest is indeed hard to tread, very difficult to reach, especially for the embodied souls. They have a Bhairava. Now, here a very simple point is being brought out, where the mind, the nature of the mind has to be understood. The mind has a limitation of its own. See, the very consciousness functioning through an embodiment assumes a limitation, otherwise it can't function. There's nothing to function in infinite consciousness. Any functioning comes into picture only when there is a limitation. That is the reason why an image is required in some form or the other. It need not necessarily be an idol or an icon. It can be a word, it can be a text, it can be anything. And that's what we see. In the Islamic tradition, it is the word. It is the text. In the Sikh tradition also, it is the Guru Granth Sahib, which is revered and placed at in a very sacred manner, and it is recited. So whether it's a name or a form or a picture or an idol or a book or a word, something or the other, the mind cannot hold on to anything which is not cognizable. So that is the point one needs to understand, and that's what Sri Krishna says here. So don't be stuck in thinking that the unmanifest Brahman can simply be, realized, or you can rise to that without the necessity of going through what is manifest. If we do not recognize what is sacred and what is manifest here, then it becomes much more difficult. That's why he says the unmanifest Brahman, indefinable unity, is a thing to which embodied souls can only arrive, and that hardly by a constant mortification and suffering of all the repressed members, a stern difficulty and anguish of the nature. Now, the most important statement in this regard, which Sri Aurobindo makes, is the indefinable oneness accepts all that climb to it, but offers no help of relation and gives no foothold to the climber. You see the beauty of it. It offers nothing. And more importantly, as we have seen, you have to ascend to it. You have to ascend to it. You cannot do otherwise. Understand the point? You cannot do it otherwise. There is the only possibility is you have to ascend to it. The ascension is an important aspect. Ascending is a very important aspect. That means you have to leave everything which is pulling you down. That is where renunciation comes into picture. It's not just for the sake of renouncing, you are renouncing something. You have to outgrow that sense of being stuck at the gross level. You remember in a certain context, this point was discussed where renunciation means you have to grow. You have to outgrow. Like a child. At a certain age, the toys are very, very important for the child. The toys are extremely important for the child, and the child feels distressed if you take away the toy. But after a certain age, he himself will reject all those toys and he'll be after something else. You understand the point? So that renunciation is actually outgrowing things. You're growing beyond it. Like we are also holding on to several toys. Our own house, our bank balances, our prestige, our children, our grandchildren are all toys for us. We have not yet outgrown them. We are controlled by them. They dictate our lives. Now, in such a situation, how is ascension possible? The beauty of that unmanifest, the oneness, is that it is open to anything and anybody who comes to it. But does it offer you any help? Does it give you a foothold? Does it extend a hand to you to pull you up? Absolutely not. You see, are you able to see the beauty of this, which also reflects what Jiddu Krishnamurti has always said? He said, I am not going to offer any crutches to anybody. I will not allow anybody to do piggybacking, sit on my shoulders and think that I'll take him somewhere. No, absolutely not. Nothing is going to be of any consequence. No, I'll offer no consolation, no anticipation, nothing. Nothing is permitted there. But the mind is used to that kind of attitude. It wants a support. It wants somebody to tell it. What is on the other side? And what it is and what it is not and all that. But that's all description. Just now, that's what Naji asked there. What does mean? The unthinkable word absolutely do not convey any meaning to us. So this mind also simply stuck with name and form. It also associates itself with things. Form is for purpose, for recollection for a person with a particular name. So that when you see it, you recollect it, you correlate that, and then you identify that person. But is that all? No. The mind is a much more complex instrument where it is interested in its existence depending on the objects outside and its own understanding of those objects inside. And then again, there is this process of selection. There's a process of selection. I like it, I don't like it. I want it, I don't want it. I want it to be repeated. I want it to be to reject it completely. This is where the Sat, Chit and Ananda aspects come into the picture. If you remember long Long time back, I have referred to a beautiful article by Swami Krishnananda on these 5 aspects of Nama, Rupa, Asti, Bhati and Priyam. Swami Krishnananda and just say Asti, Bhati, Priyam. You'll get a beautiful article. He correlates these things. Why it should exist and why it has a subjective existence in us. And there is an aspect of awareness of it, and there is an aspect of liking or disliking it. So it's a complex structure that goes on with the mind. Now all this has to be dropped. That's why Sri Aurobindo goes on to say, all has to be done by a severe austerity and a stern and lonely individual effort. So that is the point. See, the kind of individual effort which is stern, lonely, and very severely austere. That's why Sri Krishna says it is difficult for the embodied to attain unto what is called as the Brahman or the unmanifest directly. It's not about a question of mediation or progression. It is more a question of looking at the very limitation of the mind. Unless one sees the limitation of the mind, it cannot transcend it. This is what is to be understood very clearly. The first aspect is understand the limitation. We will start with the known. Let us not talk about the unknown. The unknown is unknown. So let us start with the known. The known has a certain limitation. That limitation prevents one from understanding the unmanifest. It cannot understand at all. Is that very, very clear in our mind? In the sense that clarity of that perception that the mind is partial, limited, and fragmented. And it is also subject to so many aspects of experience, knowledge, memory. So this factor has to be understood. So that is why for an embodied person, it is very difficult.
Sarji, can I ask?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, this point of limitations of embodied body to understand the consciousness, I mean, I really didn't understand. The reason is yes, consciousness is not an object to experience, fine. But the awareness is always present and one can always experience that awareness, that's consciousness. And therefore, I mean, saying that it is so difficulty to, consciousness is something.
No, because no, you don't understand the point I am making. What I am trying to tell you is, when you perceive the consciousness, as you say,
yes,
is the me present? Is the I present or not?
No, I is not there. I'm pure. I'm
No,
awareness.
No, then there is no issue at all. But that's not the case. At some point or the other, you are back to the I consciousness.
So that's why the first step is we always try and
there is no try,
objectify
sir.
body and mind.
There is no try. The moment you say try, the I comes into the picture.
That's what I'm saying, sir. You have to get that body and mind as an object and keep it off and transcend. And then awareness is pure awareness is in you. That is self-evident. I mean, self-evident.
No. That's again a deception of the mind, sir. See, that's a deception of the mind. The mind, you are able to perceive that awareness through the mind. The
No,
mind
sir, there
is
is no thought. There is no thought to feel the awareness.
no. See, that can happen in sleep also. That happens in sleep also. No. But he is sleeping, being acutely aware of the consciousness in its infinitude.
No.
Number two, I'll tell you another problem here. See, the mind can play all kinds of deception tricks on itself. The proof of the pudding is there a total transformation in our life or not? When I am, let's take a hypothetical case. I have experienced that infinite awareness or consciousness or bliss or whatever you call it. When I am not in that state, and when I am operating through this body-mind complex, is there a total transformation in me or not? It cannot be the same old person. It cannot be the same old mind operating with likes and dislikes, with my political ideologies, with my social ideologies, with my all kinds of ideas that are formed in the mind. Are they still in operation?
It cannot.
It cannot. But it is happening now. Am I able to see that unity in everything, in everybody?
Yeah, I can aware of that one. Yes,
there's no question of aware, sir. Sir. When you are back to the body-mind complex, please remember, it is only a question of action. The very perception leads to instantaneous action.
Oh.
See, that is why the mind can play all kinds of tricks, sir. It can appear to be a thoughtless. It can appear to be as though it is not present. It's playing some kind of hide and seek with us. That is not the proof at all. I should be able to perceive that unity in everything and everyone, choicelessly. If my old mind is operating, that means I have not touched that consciousness at all.
Sir, it amounts to only getting a conviction that whether you see outside world or inside, everything is Namarupa. Absolutely. Whether you see outside perception or inside.
Sir, but how does it matter? I am only able to see through my senses and mind. Substratum is somebody else has told you, and you are vaguely aware of it.
No, even the science says, science proves
that doesn't matter. Science proves to whom and what?
Says that the substratum for everything is consciousness.
Sir, where is proving again to the mind? Which itself is a defective instrument. Which itself is a limited instrument. Limited, is working under severe limitation. Isn't it? Are you able to understand what I am trying to say?
Then there's no reference, sir.
There cannot be any reference. There cannot be any reference. The only reference is you come back to the normal consciousness. It should be a new mind in operation. A mind which is operating afresh.
But how to know that? I think that was the question of last time. Umesh was also saying, how do I know?
You need not know. You act there. This knowing business is a deceptive business. Knowing, again, when you are talking about knowing, it is within the field of the known, within the field of the mind.
Yes.
The ego wants to know, no?
Sir, whether you call it as ego or I am calling it as body-mind complex, it is
Yeah,
the same.
fine, same thing.
What I am saying is it is still functioning under limitation. The only thing is, see, that is the beauty of the whole science of spirituality or Vedanta is that once you are operating with the body-mind complex, when you are back into it, you are no longer under its dictates or its control in any manner whatsoever. You are only acting under in the illumination of that Atma. No action of the mind. There is no action of the body which is not in the light of that illumination. And that dictates what is the right action. There cannot be any individual action on your part or my part. It may appear as though a particular it is acting through a particular individual, but it is the universal consciousness which is acting through that individual. And the individual per se is not acting within the framework of that body-mind complex. Am I making myself clear?
Yes.
Please
Yes,
understand
yes.
this difference. Let me give you, see, that is the reason why all kinds of illustrations are there, but illustrations have a danger of their own. Illustrations are dangerous because they are also limited. Like, for example, I am in a dark room and I have a small matchstick. I am operating in that room totally dark with a small matchstick. What will be the nature of my actions? It will always be faltering. It will always be groping. It will always be limited. And it doesn't show anything in its right proportion. I don't know the shape of the chair or the shape of the table or anything, any object in that, and I know it only to the extent of the light which the matchstick is throwing. This is how the mind operates. When the buddhi comes into picture, when the higher consciousness comes into picture, it is like switching on the light, floodlights.
Everything is illuminated.
You switch on the floodlights, everything in your consciousness is filled with light, and you know the right proportion of everything also. Then you will then you don't grope, you don't think, you don't falter, you don't fall down. You will know what is to be done at that instant. See, that is the reason why I am saying, see, you remember long back when we are doing self-culture also, I mean, the distinction between mind and buddhi is, mind has content. Buddhi has no content. Buddhi does not contain anything. It is that source of illumination, that's all. Mind cannot operate without its content. It needs material. It needs experiences. It needs objects. It needs subjective understanding of the objects. It needs knowledge. It needs memory. It needs a process. It needs analysis.
Yes.
So it is dependent on the senses for its inputs and the mind to process the whole thing. But buddhi, it is knowing by becoming. That is the occult esoteric statement. It is knowing by becoming. I want to know something, I become it. Inside out, I'll know it. That is the Upanishadic statement. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati.
Yes, yes.
The knower of the Brahman doesn't remain knower. The moment he knows, he becomes Brahman.
Yes.
Am I making myself clear, sir?
Absolutely.
So the proof of budding is that the moment I am back into my mind, body-mind complex consciousness, This whole system is operating in the illumination of that Atmic consciousness, and therefore everything to me is illuminated. Is it happening? If it is not happening, I have not touched it. If it's happening, I don't need to ask any questions.
So that is the distinction.
You understand the point, sir?
Yes, sir.
Is it happening
you,
in
sir.
our case? That is precisely was the state of consciousness of Ramana Maharshi. He was said to be in a state of Sahaja Samadhi. His natural state of being was that consciousness. With great difficulty, he had to come down to the normal consciousness. So he can only see unity. And the statement that there are no others emerges from there. You and I also can repeat that statement, but that statement has no validity or no conviction, or it doesn't ring true inside. I'm only repeating like a parrot what Ramana Maharshi had said or somebody else has said.
That doesn't work.
That doesn't work. That is the reason why Jiddu Krishnamurti said, don't repeat my words. A propagandist is a liar. He used very strong words. He said a propagandist is a liar. If I am propagating Vedanta, if I am talking about Advaita Vedanta, and I don't know anything about Advaita Vedanta, I am a bloody liar. I am cheating myself and cheating all of you also. So it has to be imbibed in one's own life. And Aurobindo makes a very important sense. He says, when they meditate on him with a yoga, which sees none else, because it sees all to be Vasudeva, the yogis, he's talking about the yogis. He says, he meets them at every point, in every moment, at all times. Please underline this statement. This is on page number 401.
Yes, sir, I saw that.
He meets them at every point, in every movement, at all times. And how does that happen? It happens with innumerable forms and faces, holds up the lamp of knowledge within and floods with its divine and happy luster the whole of existence, illumined. They discern the Supreme Spirit in every form and face, arrive at once through all nature to the Lord of nature, arrive through all beings to the soul of all being, arrive through themselves to the self of all that they are. Incontinently, they break through 100 opening issues at once into that form which everything has its origin. So there is nothing else. Everywhere, everything is being seen as that. So the innumerable forms and faces and everything, you see the Lord. You see the beyond the Lord also. You see the Supreme Being. The Supreme Spirit, as he says. Is that happening to us? Is the question, sir.
No.
Then we have not touched that consciousness at all.
So, QED.
I hope Ramchandranji, you are not disappointed.
QED, sir, that's it.
Huh?
I said QED.
Yeah. Yes. So that is the point which we have to understand here. That is the reason why they said there is a radical transformation inside out. For all appearances, your body may be the same. Your mind in ordinary things may be the same, but its action is not the same. It's a new mind. It's a fresh mind, because, as he says, at every point, in every moment, at all times. You meet that Supreme Spirit. That's the point. If that is
Thank you,
not,
sir.
yes, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
That's why when I look at myself, I'm very clear that I'm a million miles away from it. That truth should dawn to us. That is the what is. But
The
don't try to
reality.
do anything with the what is, because anything you try to do with the what is will be again within the framework of what is only.
No.
That acute, attentive, complete perception of what is brings about transformation.
Yes.
Is this clear?
Absolutely, sir. Thank you.
So, the mind can play all kinds of games, sir. Mind is capable of playing a million games at a time, simultaneously, because it wants to perpetuate itself.
Yeah.
The mind cannot imagine its own ending. But unless the mind ends all its activities, which is Chittavritti Nirodha, which is what the yoga talks about.
Yes, sir.
All modifications of the Chitta have to cease
Cease.
completely, not partially. So why it is difficult for the embodied persons? Because it can operate only under limitation. So, and the indefinable, the unmanifest does not offer any foothold to the climber. That is the reason why he says it will be very difficult for somebody who is embodied. That doesn't mean that you get disembodied when you die, you suddenly become a saint. Because there is a different kind of embodiment there. Because unfortunately, we are only aware of the gross physical body, but there are several bodies, several sheets. So you operate in one of them. Wherever you are operating in one of them, and when you are completely out of them, you feel restless and come back to the gross level again. So it is by choice that we take birth every time. Our own compulsions bring us back into life. Nobody is forcing you. Because you are not happy there, you come back, because this is a familiar territory. You see, nobody is forcing you to take another birth. It is our own propensities, our own predilections, our own energies, forces which have been released, bring us back here again and again and again and again. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jadhare shayana. Iha samsare bahutustare krupaya pare pahi murare. He said, that's the reason why I am holding on to you, because this is my state. That's where bhakti comes into play. That's where the sixth shloka comes into it. Any further discussion, sir?
Thank you, sir.
Janakiramji or Umeshji?
No, it is quite clear.
Yeah, Umeshji.
So far, everything is. I try to digest. So at the moment, I just listen, keep quiet.
Okay. So shall we go to the sixth shloka? Okay. Sixth shloka is familiar to us and we are happy with it. No.
6 and 7 are together. The commentary is together.
Okay, no problem. Because the sixth one doesn't end in itself; it goes into the seventh one. Yeah, you can read 6 and 7 together.
Okay.
ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि यस्य मत्तैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते येषामहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्युसंसारसागरात् भवामि न Chirat Partha Maya Veshita Chetasam.
Translation of 6. But those who are heart and soul for me as the Supreme, renouncing all their works unto me, meditating on me, seek after me and worship me by truly sincere and undeviating yoga. 7. Of them who found their consciousness in me, I am at once the deliverer, O Prartha, Arjuna, from the sea of mortal existence. Commentary. When they meditate on him, Purushottama, with a yoga which sees none else, because it sees all to be Vasudeva, he meets them at every point, in every movement, at all times, with innumerable forms and faces, holds up the lamp of knowledge within, and floods with its divine and happy luster the whole of existence. Illumined, they discern the Supreme Spirit in every form and face, arrive at once through all nature to the Lord of nature, arrive through all beings to the soul of all being, arrive through themselves to the self of all that they are. Incontinently, they break through 100 opening issues at once into that from which everything has its origin. And when too, in the high passion of love, the devotee of the lover and friend of man and of all creatures casts upon him all his heart of consciousness and yearning of light, then swiftly the Supreme comes to him as the Savior and Deliverer and exalts him by a happy embrace of his mind and heart and body out of the waves of the sea of death in this mortal nature into the secure bosom of the eternal.
See the beauty of his language.
Yeah.
With the expression. See, the point is, again, we do not see the conditions being imposed, the serious conditions that are being imposed. What is he saying? But those who are heart and soul for me as the Supreme, I have to check myself. Am I heart and soul for that Supreme Being? And am I doing every act as a consecration to him? Renouncing all their works unto me, then meditating upon me, and worshipping me. Technically, these are all conditions. Ye tu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya. All actions are renounced unto me. That means there is no action of their own. What I discussed previously. You are acting in that illumination of that Supreme Being. Renouncing all actions doesn't mean throwing away and behaving in an irresponsible manner here down below. No. It means every action is sacred because it is performed in the light of that Supreme Being in whom I have put all my heart and soul, my complete being, my complete heart, mind, soul, everything I have put unto him. And therefore, all my actions are in the light of his presence. There is a beautiful biblical prayer. Almighty Lord, unto whom all hearts be open, from whom no secrets are hid. There cannot be any secret in that illumination. If there is a secret in my heart, it means I am hiding it and I am not allowing that illumination to fall on that in that corner. All desires known. The prayer goes on. Almighty Lord, unto whom all hearts be open, from whom no secrets are hid, all desires known. You cannot have a dark corner in your mind or in your heart and aspire to be one with that Supreme Being. And what again? Matparaha. They're always meditating on me. They're full of me. Ananyeneva yogena. That too, seek after me and worship me by truly sincere and ananyeneva yogena mam dhyayanta. They are meditating upon me. Yeshamaham, of such persons, I am the one who will deliver them, lift them up. Samuddharta. Uddharta means one who bears them upwards. That means takes them upwards. The prefix sam means completely, totally. From where do I lift them? Mrityu samsara sagara. From this ocean of death, mortality. Mrityum tirtva vidyaya amritamasmrite is the Ishavasyopanishad. As long as we are in avidya, as long as we are stuck in ignorance, we are stuck in the sea of mortality, in the ocean of mortality. And what do I become? I am at once the deliverer of Partha from the sea of mortal existence, of them who found their consciousness in me. Maya aveshita chetasa. Their whole consciousness is filled with me. It pervades me. I am pervading their whole consciousness. That's the state of their being.
Krishnapani ji,
Yes.
doesn't this sound like it is his promise to his own bhaktas?
How does it matter, madam? We see, where is the question of somebody promising you something without you being prepared?
No, I mean, with the preparation,
No, you please understand. See, it is like my sitting in a dark room, closing all doors and windows, and expecting the sunlight to somehow break the doors open and enter.
No, this is
already there.
Yeah,
He says,
true.
I am going to deliver you.
Yes.
He is not doing any action. He is not like us doing some action. He says, the very opening of the doors and windows, you come to me.
Yes.
Fortunately, from the point of view of language, giving you an assurance that I will deliver you from all this. That's not the point. That's only a superficial understanding of it.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
See, you understand the point?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
We are not talking at that point. That is why the Gita has to be understood in layers and layers and layers and layers.
Yeah.
Here we have to understand what Sri Aurobindo says, illumined. The yogis, they are illumined. They discern the Supreme Spirit in every form and face. Arrive at once through all nature to the Lord of nature. Arrive through all beings to the soul of all beings. Arrive through themselves to the self of all that they are. And what does it do? Lastly, he says, and when two in the high passion of love, the devotee of the lover and friend of man and of all creatures casts upon him all his heart of consciousness and yearning of delight, then swiftly the Supreme comes to him as the savior and deliverer. Comes to him in the sense he is already there. That's why on the spiritual path, there is a statement which says, you take one step towards him, he will take 100 steps towards you. Figuratively, as an illustration, they give it that
Yeah.
you take one step in the right direction, he will take 1,000 steps in your direction.
No, I am not clear. What is Meena Nerulla's question?
Meena Nerula
or
says,
clarification?
Meena Nerulaji's question is that this particular verse number 7 is an assurance on the part of the Lord that he is going to deliver us.
Right.
But I am saying it is not only that, that is a superficial reading of it. The inner reading of it is that he is always there for you. We are moving in the wrong direction. We are not opening the doors. We are not opening the windows. We are not adequately prepared to receive him. It's not a question of his descending, but it's a question of our ascending. That is why conditions. The conditions are yetu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya. Those who renounce everything, surrender all their actions to me, and who are in me. For them, I am the supreme. And they worship me with an undivided state of union. Ananyaneva yogena mam dhyayante upasate. They do dhyana and upasana. They meditate and worship me. Only such persons I will be able to lift you out of this sea of mortality, this ocean of mortality, and bring you to that state of eternity. And only those who have set all their being, all their thoughts, everything is filled by me. Maya chetasa. Their chetas, their whole consciousness, their whole mind is in me. Bosom of the eternal. He comes in the sense, it's not literally coming. It's you. You don't need to go anywhere. Nobody needs to come to you. These are all figures of speech. You have to understand it at the depth of it. See, that is the reason why we say in ordinary conversation, even God cannot help you. There may be, I may be in such a foolish state of mind that even God cannot help me. Leave alone mortals, by counselors and psychologists and psychiatrists and friends and relatives and all that. Even God cannot help me if I am in that state of ignorance, if I am stuck there. But the moment you orient yourself towards him, he is all there for you. In all his glory, he is there for you. Do we perceive this?
In the commentary, Krishnapani ji is Aurobindo or Sri Aurobindo says the indefinable oneness accepts all that climb to it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. That's what I told earlier. Yes,
Yeah,
earlier. Yeah. All
So
those, and that's why he says he will not offer any help, no foothold to the climber.
Right, right.
Because the point is there is nothing to climb as such. The only figuratively, by figures of speech, we are forced to use these terms. as though we are climbing and ascending and descending and all that. It's only figuratively there. But it is a question of the entire consciousness pervading our present body-mind complex has to be completely shattered. The hold of the body-mind complex on us has to be completely shattered. Unless that happens, nothing can happen. That's the
Sarji,
point.
one basic question.
Yes, sir.
Sarji, one basic question. Sri Aurobindoji and Krishna all the time talking about duality, duality, duality. You, me, you, me, you, me. Sir, this I can't digest this. Why?
No,
I mean, where it's all paroksha. Where is aproksha? Where is the jnana is going to come with all the time being in duality?
So, Ramchandra neither Sri Krishna nor Sri Aurobindo nor anybody else can give you that aparoksha anubhuti. Don't search outside. Don't look at sacred texts. Don't look at commentaries. Don't look at people. Don't depend on anything outside you. The outside is only a pointer.
Yes.
That is what Jiddu Krishnamurti has repeatedly said. Did it help you, sir? The Bhagavad Gita has been there for 10,000 years. Did it help you? When it has not helped you, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? See, the moment we talk about a text, we talk about a person delivering a talk or somebody writing a commentary, duality is already crept into it. Duality has already crept into the whole system, sir. Who has to extricate you from this duality?
Oneself.
Who has to take you out? Tell me, sir, who has to take you out? Atmanyavatmana tushta. The self has to lift its own self.
Self, yes.
Atmanyavatmana atmanam uddharet. Yes, sir.
Sir, my question is that if you look at Mandukya, Gaudapada completely demolishes the duality, completely. And for him, nothing exists.
Sir,
but whereas when you come to Bhagavad Gita, everything is duality.
No, sir. Demolishing, how does it help you? How does it help you?
Because it helps me to realize my own self. I'm the supreme. My consciousness.
No, so again, you have to get that insight.
Yes, absolutely. And that is what is more important, which will lift you.
So, no, why should you need the whole of the Bhagavad Gita to give you that insight? Why do you need it?
No, we don't. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's precisely what I'm saying. When somebody has said have insight, you go with that insight and go away. That's all. Don't come back.
Okay.
Now, actually, if you have seen the Ashtavakra Gita, yes, right from the beginning, he demolishes everything.
Correct.
He doesn't brook any of these things. And what is required? It's only that jnana, it is only that Atma Vichara.
True.
And that Atma Vichara, it's when it's not happening, I will depend on anything outside.
Oh.
And outside will not give you anything. So we are in a catch-22 situation. Inside I am empty, I am stupid, I am foolish. Outside I can't get support.
Then you're nowhere.
So that is the reason why, like that couplet which says Kasturi Kundal Base Mrugudunde Banmahi. The Kasturi, that musk is inside you, inside the deer. Yes. It is searching outside. the entire forest, because it's able to see the fragrance of it. It's able to perceive the fragrance of it. If you are able to perceive the fragrance of the self, you will not depend on anything outside.
True.
Yes, sir?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sir, any further question? Umesh ji? Sarangi ji? Yeah, Umesh ji, tell me.
No, as I said today, I'm still in the mode of taking whatever that you have said so far.
Okay. Okay, fine. Fine. Now continue to be in that state. That's okay. Yes, sir. Anybody else? Ina Nirula ji, Janaki Ram ji, Sarangi ji, Prema ji.
Sir, it is very, very clear now.
No clear.
Now it is absolutely clear.
Yeah. So we can cancel all our further webinars.
In a way, yes, sir.
That
But
should be
this is the prayers actually.
Yeah.
To get the proper intensity, it is required.
So it is required for building up that
Yes,
escape
sir,
velocity.
yes, the urgency and the intensity.
Yes, yes. As I said, the sensitivity, the intensity, and the urgency for that ultimate clarity.
Yes, sir. The sensitivity it has already come.
Yeah. Okay.
We have started
But
realizing
there is no end to it. There was no end to sensitivity. You have to become more and more and more and more sensitive. That's all. More and more intense, more and more urgent. Everything it's progressive. That's all.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Anything else?
My only observation is it haunts your statement haunts me all the time, and I remember you saying many times that the transformation should happen instantly and 360 degree.
Yes.
And that is something that I find it very hard, because in my opinion, or my experience, or my understanding is that so long you are aware and you are in progress, you are evolving. It may not happen instantly, it may not happen 360 degree, but even if you evolve a couple of degree, you should be satisfied. And it continues.
Umesh, it comes uninvited. It comes without announcing itself. And it may go also without telling you and without informing you. The only thing which we can do is be ready to receive it. That's all. No anticipation, no hope, no anxiety, no fear, nothing.
Yeah.
Be open, because it is in a timeless dimension.
Yeah.
So it comes uninvited. That's where you prepare your mind. Don't think it is hard or difficult or anything of that sort.
No, I mean that transformation in totality that would happen.
No, there is no, again, when transformation is there, it's always in totality only. Because
yes, but until
infinite is always infinite.
Yes, agree. But until then, you are still in progress.
Yes, always. Always. The only thing is keep yourself open.
Yes, that's right. The doors are open, windows are open, getting enough sunlight and ventilation.
And light and heat and wind and tornadoes and everything will come.
Yes, sir.
It's like it's like saying that just walk the talk. There's no point in just talking. Get into unconditional devotion to the Lord, and get into your transformative bhakti yoga. And so that's the only way to get attracted to the Supreme Lord. I guess this is my understanding. And in Kali Yuga, this one way of doing this is Nama Smaranam, Keep talking, like we say, Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu.
Yeah. Yes. The whole point is, do we mean it? The whole crux of the issue is, do we mean it?
Or we
That's
do
it.
it when it's convenient.
But, yes,
Yeah, that's
but
just,
I
there
can
is
personally
a-
vouch for myself.
no, there
I
is a-
believe that
yeah.
everything I do is because of the Lord, because of that supreme being, and I am absolutely aware of this one particular conscious statement.
Yeah, fine. But that should be the state of our natural being. That's all. There's no question of verbalizing it. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Exactly.
And there is a miser is there. So it so happened that he had put some flour to drying outside, this atta he has put for drying outside, and he was actually keeping a watch on it so that nobody steals it and all. Unfortunately, it so happened that there was a huge gale of wind and half of the atta was blown away. Then immediately he got up and said, all that atta which the wind has taken, I offer to Krishna. Anyway, I can't get it back now.
Yeah.
That's like manipulating the God.
Yeah. Sir, the mind is deceptive. That's what I'm trying to say. Otherwise, if one is in that state, there is no issue at all. So our actions in our daily life are the testing is the testing ground. The testing ground is the life we lead. The life we lead. Otherwise, it has no relevance. There's a comment by the School of Ancient Wisdom. Is it? Aniket? Knowledge which is words and images, such a man can never come closer to the infinite. Yes. As a matter, the finite itself is contained in the infinite. Right? See, the statements are okay, but the whole point is, do we see this limitation acutely? That's what I mentioned earlier also. Do we see that body-mind complex as a severely limited instrumentality through which we are operating? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Anything else, sir? Or shall we close? It's already 11:44.
Yeah.
We'll close it with the Loka Samastha.
Yeah.
Om Swasti Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat Om Sarvam Brahmarpanamastu. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Krishnamurthy. Thank you so much. We'll be back again Friday next at the same time. Please, if the notices come late, no problem. We'll always be there at 10:30 on Friday. So the notice will definitely, the link will be definitely put only in the morning if it's not put in on Thursday evening. Thank you so much for being here.
Like Zoom, is it not possible to have the same link for every Friday, ma'am? I mean, just a thought.
Let me check with Aniket. Aniket, you're here.
Normally, I think it is the same number, but they have an agreement, I think, with Cisco WebEx, and they get these links. The numbers sometimes could change, but in this particular case, I think the number remains the same for us.
Yeah, then it can be put in the group description. So every Friday we just have to click it and then join.
Yes.
That's all.
Aniket,
Yes,
am
sir.
I correct?
Yes, sir. Correct. You are right. Yeah.
So it's the same.
Aniket,
It's the same number and password.
Yes. I
The
think.
same number.
So can you just
Yes. Yeah.
can you just put that in the group, please?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Put it in the Bhagavad Gita group.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
but the Cisco is much better than Zoom, Veena.
Yes. No, this
Yeah.
is a dedicated thing, and it's quite expensive. And the School of Ancient Wisdom has paid huge amounts to subscribe to this.
This is really good. This is really good, actually.
Yeah, this is very good.
Yes. Zoom is too crowded. This is good because we have an exclusive arrangement with Cisco WebEx.
Right.
Yeah, and we can just on and come. In Zoom, we have to wait until the host let us in.
No.
This is
There's
very-
So that's the same thing as this.
features are there, but
Features.
here the number of people using and the clarity and other things are better because of the arrangement we have. Zoom,
Yes.
in most of the cases, people use it for free or they pay only a nominal amount and use it. But that's not the case with Cisco WebEx.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
But
you.
anyways, I will keep posting the.
Thank you.
We have
Yes.
Gurubhyo Namaha.
also
Yeah.
week, so I will keep
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you.
on the evening of Thursday or in the morning Friday.
Yeah. Try and do Thursday immediately after the when that program starts at 6 o'clock,
Yes.
6:30. After that, if you can post, it'll be great.
Okay, madam. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishnapani ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.